Hello and a very warm welcome to the late-breaking F1 podcast presented by Harry Eade, Sam Sage, and me, Ben Hocking, back with another midweek episode. Sam, you went to F1 exhibition yesterday as we're recording this. How was that?
I loved it. It was really, really enjoyable. There's some great cars on display. Got to see the MP4-4. Got to see Verstappen's 2021 Challenger. Winner, I suppose we should call it. Grosjean's wreck of a car was in there from that infamous crash in Bahrain, and that was really quite kind of slaps you in the face a little bit. You walk around the corner, it's in this dark tunnel and it's all lit up, and there's a big screen that kind of talks you through it. And it's really quite, you go through again the size and shaking of how impactful that moment was when we were watching it on telly. It was really great. If anyone has got some free time and you're in and around London before, I think it's the 2nd of March, go and check it out because it's worth the time. I was also second fastest on the lap times for the simulator for that day. So
well done. Who was fastest?
Some little scamp that cut corners.
What are you going to say then?
Recommend.
Clives was first. You just actually had two goes.
I wasn't there.
Clive's Figglesworth told the board.
Walk around the corner and put a suit on.
You were just here, weren't you?
Yeah, no, it's not me.
Oh! A rare Clive's appearance in Feb.
You got anything to say, Harry? Or
nothing interesting, so that's fine.
Well, no difference there. Well, yeah, we do have a regular episode today. We've actually got a Q&A episode coming up on Sunday, so I hope you're looking forward to that one. But our regular episode today, back and forth, coming up a little bit later on, a little bit on the FIA's clampdown on flexible wings. Mohammed Ben Sulayem's opened his mouth, but we're going to start with F1 Wishlists. I think we did a similar episode this time last year where we just basically rant and say what we think the sport should be or what is missing from the sport or anything like that for 20 minutes or so. So there is maybe not overly structured this segment, but we'll see where we get to with it. Sam, where do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I've got a long list. That trend that's going around at the moment, Valentine's gifts for him or something like that that's going around at the moment. This is what I want for Valentine's Day. I want these things to be taking place. Smaller cars to start with. And I don't just mean 10 centimetres here, 10 centimetres there. I mean properly smaller cars. I want them, not like Hot Wheels, not the other way, not like so they're so small I can get in them either. But I mean, go back to the size of maybe the 80s, the 90s cars, at most the early 2000s. I stood next to Lewis Hamilton's 2019 Formula One car in the F1 exhibition. It's like 9 foot long. It is genuinely ridiculous. I could lie down it and I could get a bit more of me on the end. And I know I'm not the tallest man in existence. I know, but that car was long. It does not need to be that long. Make them smaller. We have better overtaking. More tracks would be far more usable. Monaco might actually be interesting for once. That'd be great. Just make the cars
it's always interesting.
Smaller. Sure.
I mean, I'm assuming this is just a bit of again, it's a wish list, so it makes sense. But in the world of reality, when could we get there?
2030, I think is probably the logical next time that we could do a full evaluation that doesn't completely disrupt the regulations coming into place. It means that teams and future teams maybe have a chance to reassess. And 2030 feels like a reasonable amount of time to make those changes both technologically with the teams and their discussions and for any safety regulations that probably need to be brought in to make sure that we are happy.
Feels like we're on a weight loss program with F1 currently. So I
actually need to be on a weight loss program.
Okay, Sam and the F1 cars are on a weight loss.
Sam and F1.
Well, I will happily team up with F1 to on a diet. I am getting fat.
But these cars have got so big now that they've realised, and 2026 is a slimmed down.
Sorry,
simmer down. Slimmed down version of what we have now, but it's still pretty big. So yeah, like you say, 2030 probably feels like the next step of the weight loss program.
I didn't have that on my list, but yes, 100%. I think there's quite a lot of circuits that we don't go to as well that would become far more viable, particularly quite a few circuits in America that are really good racetracks, but quite skinny in places. I'm thinking like Road America as an example.
That's
a great track, wouldn't work with current F1 cars. But yeah, I think that is a fair shout. Harry, where are you starting things off?
I had that on my list, start my list as well, so I won't revisit that one. Second I had, though, was louder engines with sustainable fuel. Not to sound like a massive James Hunt fan.
I thought that was going to be your first one, revive James Hunt.
Bring him back.
Bring him back. But Sebastian Vettel's proving that it can be done. We can have these louder engines, these V8s, these V10s, V12s if you really want to, and run them on sustainable fuel. And F1 doesn't need to go down this route of hybrid power all the time. I know there are manufacturers that would want to do that, but if we want to attract more teams to F1, going back to engines that are more simple V8s or V10s is going to be much cheaper to run, and also smaller and less weight. So Sam's small weight loss program,
I would like a V10 in me.
Moving on. I don't know where to go from there. Having a smaller engine will help with that, with smaller cars as well, because you just got less things to put in the car, basically. So, louder engines, please, because I miss them and they sound excellent.
I'm going to surprise no one with my first one.
James Hunt.
Nope.
Oh.
Bye-bye, sprints.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Does anyone think there's a reason why they've stopped at like 6?
They've not announced anymore, have they?
It feels like maybe they...
Is it because they only do well in Brazil?
And what do we know about Brazil?
It's excellent.
Bangers every time.
Yeah.
It's a good racetrack.
I've heard that Brazil in Portuguese translates to banger.
Sure. Don't feel free to correct us on that. That is absolutely 100% correct.
Mashed potatoes and bangers.
I've never really liked the free practice versus a sprint race debate, because I get that there are people who like sprint races, and that's absolutely fine. But for the people that say it's better than a practice session, they're not trying to do the same thing.
It's like saying, would you prefer being punched in the face or having a hug? They're not comparable things.
No.
So stop comparing them. Yes, of course I'd like a hug more, but sometimes you've got to be punched in the face.
Would you rather watch... Sure. Would you rather watch like a 30-minute football match or watch a training session? You're still going to pick the 30-minute match, but that doesn't mean it's as good as a 90-minute match. That's why I've never really understood that debate. I'd get rid of them entirely. No, I'm not shocking anyone with this. Sam, where you going?
12 teams. Formula One.
Blue flags.
It was, yes, with blue flags. Formula One is easily a 24-car sport. We have space for another team. I don't want to hear the Monaco garage issue because it's a load of rubbish. We could do 12 teams, and we've had more than 12 teams, so we can definitely go to 12 teams. There is the demand for it. There is the want for it. The fans would love it. Commercially, it's viable. I definitely think that 12. I think 12 is a really good number for F1. I think if you start to add on any more than 12, there is probably a risk that you do start to just have things lost at the back where people aren't really fully paying attention. But I think there's the space, and the fans have the capacity to be able to fully observe a championship that is made up of 24 drivers and not 20.
I mean, we've got freedom of thought on this segment. We can go wherever we want with it. Given that, who's joining?
Porsche, thank you.
Yeah, I figured you might say that. I know I've already said removal of sprint races, and that's my second one. We're removing sprint races again. But related to that, shortening the race weekend. Because I think, again, going back to sprint races, it's like, if you say you don't like sprint races, people go, well, you love practice sessions. No, I'd actually get rid of a practice session or two as well. But if we can shorten the race weekend, then I feel like 24 races on the calendar is a bit more palatable not for us fans, but for the team members. Like at the moment, a standard race weekend is media day on Thursday, free practice 1 and 2 on Friday, free practice 3 and qualifying on Saturday, and the race on Sunday. I would probably have it something like Friday morning is media, Friday afternoon is free practice 1, Saturday's free practice 2, qualifying, and then the race on Sunday. So you're dropping a practice session, but you are in effect saving a day. I'm not overly tied to that exact configuration of a weekend, but I do think we can do a better job of making the weekend a little bit more efficient if we were to drop sprint races. So shorter race weekend.
I think you've got a campaign in there where you could sing Save a Day to the tune of Enya, Sail Away. Save a day, save a day, save a day.
You know what? This is going to shock you. I don't think that'll catch on.
Oh, why don't you like any of my ideas?
It's a real shame.
I tell you what, you go ahead and do it. And we'll see how you
right.
can prove me wrong.
Okay, I'll lead that campaign.
Harry, what's your next idea?
Bring back 2011/2012 spec tyres. I am bored of Pirelli making boring tyres that just work all the time.
Damn, those tyres that work.
This is literally man yells at cloud. But in all seriousness, we don't have enough variety in strategy anymore in F1. When there's the possibility of a 2-stop race, all three of us basically wet ourselves at the prospect of it because that is exciting. But it's a rarity because because the tires just and even when it's even worse now because sometimes they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be a 2-stop, and then the teams are like, no, and go slow, drive to a delta and do a 1-stop because it's just quicker to do. Hate that. Don't want that in F1 anymore. I want tires that fall off a cliff, give you options on tire strategy, which means might be quicker to do a 1-stop, might be quicker to do a 3-stop. You don't know, and that's what I want. I want those sorts of races because you go back and watch some 2012, 2011 races, China 2012, I'd like to reference on that one. The end of that race there is, apart from Nico Rosberg winning.
Kimi Raikkonen died.
Yeah, he literally had to be revived.
He was running at the end of that stint.
Fred Flintstoning it the whole way. But that's the point. That was a really exciting thing to watch, and I want that. And I'd even go as far to say, because I feel like people will moan and say, well, that doesn't work for qualifying. Fine, have like a separate quality tire. I'm okay with that. Obviously, there's sustainable issues that would need to be resolved around that, which I'm sure there could be. But have a tire that is just used for qualifying. That's a bit more durable, is good for hot laps, and then have race tires. I think that would be the way forward. So please, Pirelli, go back to how you used to be.
I've never quite understood not having qualifying tires because of the issue with like wasting, because you're going to use tires
anyway.
Of some variety.
It's a poor argument. It's the same for the not having louder engines because of the waste. They're using so much elsewhere. It doesn't matter. So
we are a wasteful sport.
Very much so. Yeah, but there are ways to mitigate it. I'm not saying just be wasteful, but that as an excuse doesn't wash for me.
One of my ideas here is not very well thought through. It's probably my most pie in the sky of the ones I've got written down here, but an F2 draft. I'd like for, at the moment, of course, you've got most F2 drivers, at least the ones that have a shot at F1. Nearly all of them are part of a junior academy, whoever that might be. And that if they're going to get a shot at F1, it's going to be via that team, which is boring. I know there's issues about funding, and that's why I'm saying this isn't very well thought out. But I would love it if, the worst team in F1 each season had the opportunity to draft whichever F2 driver they like from the previous year. I think it could be quite exciting, but I appreciate it needs way more thought than I've given it.
I'm not mad at that, though.
Spicy.
Sam?
I'm going to get all this one out of the way because it's a surprise to nobody, but no exposed carbon. and every team should have its own defined and actual separate branding. There's too much blue on the grid. There is too many blue cars on the grid right now. And Formula One is good for three things. One, the competition on track, the excitement of the sport. Two, technological advances. Three, marketing to sell stuff. You all look the same. Are we trying to sell the colour blue? Is that the point? No. You need to have your own bloody colour scheme. I want to stop seeing Williams and what used to be Alpine and AlphaTauri, whatever they're called, and whoever else it might be, in blue. I'm sick of the colour blue. So, and at last Sang, I don't know how I can't say that.
No, you got it first time, yeah.
Yeah, nailed it, mate.
I thought, title sponsor for Williams. That means a new livery. It's blue. Their colours are blue. I'm sick to death of it. I miss purple. I miss yellow. I miss green. Proper green. Sorry, Aston Martin, you're almost there, but you're kind of a bluey green. So do it again. Yeah, no more blue. It's my new campaign model.
No more blue.
Sam's campaign against Duncan James continues.
Very good.
Speaking of blue and liveries, this time next week, we'll be watching the F1 75 launch event.
Yeah.
Apart from Harry, you'll probably give it a miss. But next Wednesday...
Asleep.
What's your favourite livery, Harry? No idea.
Yeah, this episode next week, Pimp My Fun.
It is the week that I get the angriest.
You're going to be so angry. Harry's going to love this one, of course. I've already pitched this idea before, but make Monaco a heritage weekend and adjust the format of it. I still maintain, put on a qualifying on the Saturday that's actually worth points, and on the Sunday, put them all in F3 cars as a charity race. I know people always refer back to like the 1980s when Ayrton Senna and other F1 drivers took part in, I can't even remember what they called it. Was it? No, I can't remember what they've called it, but they were all in the same car and Senna won it. And it's kind of still spoken about. Well, it's still spoken about now. It'd just be cool because all the drivers would be motivated because if they're all in the same car, they're going to be like...
Fernando Alonso, goodness gracious me.
He has no reason... someone's going to have a go at us now for talking about Fernando Alonso. He would be up for it, wouldn't he?
There'd be some little scaredy cat that will find an excuse not to turn up because one, it's not championship relevant. They don't want to be embarrassing a normal car.
Now we can fight, he says from an F3 car.
Sam, do you want to rattle through any others?
Yeah, I've got a few here. We've mentioned this one already, but the same group of stewards to appear at every race that are paid. Implement a tyre and a structure so that wet racing actually works and is viable and it can be a competitive element to the sport. Sabrina Carpenter to appear at every racetrack. Quickly moving on. Every team must run an independent manufacturer.
What would Sabrina be doing at the racetrack?
Just little Sabrina Cam in the corner.
Sabrina Cam?
So I can watch the red button, please.
Tried this one.
Preferably. Every team to run a manufacturer independently. You keep your Williamses, you keep your McLarens, but I think they should become hubs for manufacturers to run them so it becomes a full season of, you've got Ferrari versus Mercedes versus Audi versus Honda, Toyota, Porsche. I want every team to have its own independent in an ideal world. I think that would be really, really great. And the final one, I've got three. I have 4 words: walls, grass, gravel traps.
There's no point around any of them. I just like the words.
Yeah, I love those words together, man. I just think that runoff is naff, and I think there should be punishment for mistakes. So one of those 3 should be implemented anywhere. That's my points.
So many campaigns, so little time.
I'm a campaign manager now.
Runoffs and Duncan James.
I'm going to put Duncan James in a runoff.
Or put a runoff in Duncan James.
All rise.
Did you have any to close us out on this, Harry?
Ticket costs. Make them cheaper, please, lads.
More expensive.
More money.
Too cheap. Yeah, raise them tickets.
Price out the poor people.
They are too spenny for what. Not that you don't get a quality product, but just to make it accessible. you're making a lot of dollar. It probably comes from F1 charging so much to circuits to be in F1 in the first place rather than on the circuit. So I'm not blaming them necessarily, but that would be, I put on my wish list. And then the last one, 20 races as a maximum, and only 5 of them are allowed to be street circuits. Okay.
I can get on board with that.
Because we got too many street circuits as well. Do you think this feature has turned into us moaning?
I've had a great time. I feel really relaxed.
Got it all off our chest, out of the system.
Breathe.
Quick final question, Harry.
Yeah.
Let's just say your idea does come into effect next year.
Yeah.
Which 4 are going?
Street tracks.
Oh, any tracks. If you want your 20 race calendar, which 4 are going?
Saudi's going. Abu Dhabi's going. Qatar, because it freaking sucks.
There's a theme. Miami.
Yeah, Miami can go as well. I'll probably get rid of more. In fact, let's have 15 races.
You end up with just Silverstone and Interlagos.
Yeah, just 7 tracks.
And Monaco season opener and closer.
God, what a double header at Monaco.
Okay, well, yeah, we're going to call that segment our wish list because that's a far better way of saying that it was our opportunity to moan for 15 or 20 minutes. We're going to take our first break on this episode. Fortunately, all of the whinging and moaning is done because we've got a comment from Mohammed Ben Sulayem right after this.
You know how I was really relaxed?
Yeah, we should have done this the other way around. We had the therapy, now we've got the stress.
Yeah, great.
Welcome back, everyone. Oh, here we go. The FIA might impose stricter censorship on Formula One drivers' radio communications to address swearing, as suggested by President Mohammed Ben Sulayem. He had this to say: do we go on and then shut down the radios of live communication? Maybe. There are a lot of things that would work now with our promoter. FOM are the promoter, the FIA. We are still the owners of the championship. Currently, radio messages aired on the global television feed are censored to obscure swearing. However, the same censorship does not apply to the live onboard feeds available on F1 TV, which are delayed, allowing FOM to withhold certain messages from being broadcast. So obviously those bleeps aren't enough, Sam. Want to do away with it completely. Your thoughts on his comments?
His answer is within his statement. You're already delaying it. Just bleep a swear word. That's what happens across all the media. I actually don't know if I want to get into this. I actually don't know if I'm interested enough in talking about Mohammed Ben Sulayem again. I'm sick to death of hearing his name and saying his stupid ideas on this podcast. He's going to destroy the sport with his stupid ideas. People are raging. I'm fuming. There's already solutions. I hate it. Obviously, I'm miserable about it, Ben. I'm miserable. I'm going to get into the technicality of it. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Do you know what this is, this segment? You know that meme or GIF? And that's bait. That's what this is.
Okay, that is.
That's what he's done.
It's Tom Hardy.
Is he baiting us very specifically?
I think so. I think he's targeting just late breaking, to be honest.
We haven't given him any reason to target us as well.
No, because it's not like we've called him an idiot multiple times.
I wouldn't dream of calling him an idiot because he is not an idiot. Mohammed Ben Sulayem, an idiot? Those words wouldn't come out of my mouth.
No, sir. No, sorry.
To be fair, idiot's probably kind. So we could swear. And then he would be mad.
Mohammed Ben, stupid man.
Wow, is he upgraded?
Yeah, that's it. You've been promoted, sir.
No. Okay.
This is going to be a really good segment. This is.
This is what I mean, though. He's just trying to bait people with this because it's not going to happen. And I don't know who he thinks he is. I know he thinks he is the FIA president, and I guess he is. But I don't know what power he thinks he holds over the sport. And if he's saying that
he owns the championship, mate.
He owns the whole thing. Liberty Media, who are they? Never heard of them. This is what I mean. I think he knows what he's doing. He's just winding everyone up. And
I don't get rattled by a lot on this show. I know we get a bit silly. We get a bit irate. I'm actually rattled by this now.
Rattled.
Genuinely annoyed.
But what, to your point, Sam, what difference does it make if it's a bleep or you don't hear it? Because either way, you don't hear the swear word. So what does it matter? And also, if we're not hearing stuff, it's clearly they're still doing it. So we all know they're still doing it. So what's the point? What's the point in any of this?
Oh, I hate this segment, Ben.
Ben, can we move on? I don't want to do it anymore.
I actually hate this so much.
Can we go back to the wish list? It was better when we moaned.
I feel like the next thing on the wish list would be Mohammed Ben Sulayem is not the FIA
In fact,
president
why
anymore.
wasn't it on the wish
Why
list?
wasn't that on the wish list?
God damn.
Yeah. You know, with the misconduct penalties,
Yes.
you missed that one, Sam. You were lucky.
I was sat in the car talking to you both while you were doing the podcast.
When we spoke about that, I think I did a good job of trying to be objective and really trying to see where he was coming from. And also, like, if someone else had done it and if a few things were different, maybe it could have been a good idea. I feel like I was relatively measured. Nope, not anymore. I'm done with Measured Ben.
Measured Ben.
Measured Ben is a long gone person by now
Distant
because
memory.
Sam, you're rattled by this. I'm so rattled by this, and I hate myself that I'm rattled.
It's got us all. It's annoying, isn't it? He
He's
shouldn't
under
have
my
done.
skin.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
wearing me like a suit.
He is genuinely. Do you know the thing that winds me up the most about
Yeah,
that?
come on, Ben. Let it go,
Get
Ben.
him.
Right,
Pull the cord.
we've had a lot from Ben Sulayem over the last year or so.
Yeah,
The
lots of
Toto
crap.
Wolff and Susie Wolff investigation, this swearing nonsense, him firing people for no apparent reason. But do you know what winds me up about Ben Sulayem more than anything else?
Tell us, Ben. Tell
Every
us.
interview he does, he asks these stupid rhetorical questions and answers them himself. Every time.
Who's the greatest president of the FIA? Well, it's got to be me.
It's got to be me, actually.
Every time. It's like, well, will we do this? Maybe. Will we do this? Maybe. He finds a way to...
It's not even a real answer.
No, it's not. He abandons all aspects of subtlety. He has an idea or an agenda that he is just desperate to say in one form or another. And it does not matter whether an interviewer has asked him a question about it. He'll find a way to get it in there. The line about the FIA and how the FIA owns the championship and F1 doesn't, he'd have got that in there regardless of what he was asked. And we haven't even got on to the point. It's not true. You don't own the championship. Yes, you're a key stakeholder, and sure, you are the governing body of the sport. That doesn't mean you own it. You know, if I have a kid and I pay a babysitter, the babysitter doesn't own the kid. It doesn't work.
It's like when I get drunk on a night out and I'm like, will I get a kebab on the way home? Maybe. Like, full well, I'm getting a kebab on the way home.
Well,
That's
he's
going in my belly.
trying to get some sort of sponsorship deal from Hotel Trivago at this point. It'd be perfect for those ads.
This has been a great segment, actually. I've loved this segment.
Oh, so what we're saying is, in conclusion, Mohammed Ben Sulayem is no different to drunk Sam debating with himself whether to get a kebab.
Hey, you're there as well. Don't
You'd
give
get
me that
more
one.
insights from Sam.
Sam, I'm not there. I've left long ago.
Oh, yeah, so true. And you haven't told me.
He's like, where's Harry? I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm getting a kebab. Or am I?
Who knows? Maybe.
Yes.
Team radio as well is a really good thing to broadcast because you get insights that you just don't get from
What's a
anything
key part
else.
of Drive to Survive? What is a key factor that brought people in? It's the team radio. It's getting to know drivers and their personalities in the... Why do we love George Russell so much? Because of the crap he spews over team radio. What did we talk about McLaren, about their over-the-top radio? Papa rules now. That is a great thing that we got from team radios and the muck that came from those. You are silly to remove such a brilliant aspect of the Formula One product because you don't like a few words in the English language that barely get used, and you have the capability to bleep and remove anyway. Also, Formula Kids is a thing. You have that for children. It works brilliantly. The product is great. I watched Charles Leclerc dancing on top of Monaco for 78 laps. It was brilliant. I loved it. Best Monaco Grand Prix of all time. All right,
You
no
actually-
swearing there.
Did you watch it?
No swearing there. Not at all. So just watch that, Mohammed. Watch that if you like it so much.
Also, feel free to correct me, anyone on this. I'm fairly sure It's not. That's the team radio broadcast is not owned by the FIA.
Oh,
Is that not owned by Formula One Management, aka F1, aka Liberty Media?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I just don't know what the next step of this is. Is it going to be Ben Sulayem?
Yeah, but they're gonna play them more. They're just gonna do more to wind him up.
I hope so.
Surely it's going to be Mohammed Ben Sulayem going, I want this to be implemented, and Formula One Management going,
no.
I bet I know who it is pressing the button to play more of them as well. It's Freddie Bass. Little devil that he is.
He'd have that grin on his face.
Yeah. More.
Shall swear again. Do it again.
Say the F word.
Do you think, and again, all swearing is bleeped. And we know he's got an issue with swearing, but we don't hear any of it because of those bleeps. Does he just have an issue with like the illusion of F1 drivers swearing? Like, is that the issue, that he doesn't want us to think the F1 drivers swear at all in their lives?
But also, what's the point of this? Because we'll get, even if this came into effect and we don't hear F1 drivers swear for a whole year, Drive to Survive season, whatever we get to in 2026 when it comes out, it's full of it. I seem to remember Daniel Ricciardo calling Netflix a bunch of somethings.
That's true. There's also an 18+ rating episode about to come out.
It's just them swearing at Mohammed Ben Sulayem for 90 minutes.
Completely naked, swearing endlessly.
I'm shocked this hasn't become an 18+ episode.
We've done very well.
Wow, we've been really good.
I've been tempted to swear in irony.
Producer Kirsty nodded in agreement. Yes, well done.
Well done for not saying it.
Because I can't swear, I'm just going to do this instead.
Ben's so rattled he can't even press the button properly.
He's angrily pressing it over and over again. Oh. Anything else? Or?
No, I don't want to talk about him anymore.
Can we go? Can we just no more now until at least April?
At least the start of the season, surely.
Let's get out of the way.
A month.
I can't talk about him again.
I kind of have to applaud him to an extent.
He's doing well.
He's really rattled us. Like,
he's heard of the Shut Up Award, and he's gone.
Can we award it now? Let's have an early LB. So let's wrap it up. Wrap this bad boy up.
Clive's already been on the episode.
Yeah, come on.
I'll put it in the Daily Sam.
We didn't even get onto the second part of the quote that talks about him. He said his drivers were like his kids.
What little
nonsense! What are you talking about?
What a little freaky thing to say! Shut up!
I didn't write down that bit of the quote, but I think I really need to find it.
What a weirdo!
Why are you saying that?
You little weirdo, man! It's off the rails. This is gone. I'm like a father to all these babies.
I've got the quote.
Go on then.
Sorry, it starts with a big question as well. How do I treat the drivers? Question. Like my sons and my daughters. Honestly, I treat them with passion, with love.
More passion.
I treat them with understanding. I've been there. I want them to succeed.
What does that mean?
What a little freak.
What do you mean wants them to succeed at what? Not swearing.
I like this.
I'm sweating.
I'm hot. I'm going to jump because it's winter. I'm hot.
Can we move on now, Ben?
Yeah, let's take our second break. On the other side, we've actually got another FIA topic.
Oh, no.
It's not about Mohammed Ben Sulayem. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying this episode. Let's move on to the FIA.
Oh, good.
Tightening regulations on how F1 teams bend their wings by introducing new load tests for front and rear wings in 2025. So starting in Australia, rear wing deflection tests will be expanded with additional front wing tests included at the Spanish GP in June. This is actually a bit of a U-turn from the FIA because they previously said all of their current tests were sufficient, but apparently they ended up disagreeing with themselves, which shouldn't come as much of a shock. This is maybe the most technical we'll ever get on this podcast, so enjoy it while it lasts, folks. Sam, your thoughts on them U-turning on this?
Well done to the FIA for U-turning on this. I genuinely think that this is a really, really good adjustment to the regulations. Previously, they changed it halfway through the season to the point where I think it was Ferrari had to essentially go and rebuild their front wings really quickly. I think it was for the Singapore Grand Prix where they had to deliver these really rapidly because they were not compliant with these regulations that have been brought in. And then they kind of left it open. They kind of changed what was going on. But because of the flex in the bodywork, it essentially means that there's no full restriction on kind of how much you can essentially, in layman's terms, take the mickey. The faster you go, the more the air pushes the bodywork around, causes flex, and of course that can change performance at much faster speeds. But what they're doing here now is ensuring that there is an absolute maximum rigidity or flex in the car, meaning that all teams have got an equal playing field. And they've even allowed a period of adjustment time for the front wing to be changed. So I think it's been the Spanish Grand Prix where, where this has to be brought in. You have to be compliant by then. Again, sensible. You've allowed for regulation changes to take into effect. You've realized you've done this at short notice. You've realized that you wrote a rule and you had to change that rule. I'm okay with this. This is actually being set out in a sensible, well thought out and fair manner that allows everyone to adjust to the rule set properly and should, in theory, create a more level playing field when it comes to building parts. So unlike the last topic, for me, big tick. This is good. Well done.
I think I'm happy to be corrected on this, by the way. I think the Ferrari thing was the opposite issue. So I think Ferrari were banking on the FIA being stricter about it, so didn't introduce something at the same time as some of their competitors. And that's why they rushed things through for Singapore when they realized, they're not actually going to be stricter about this. Therefore, we should probably try and catch up with our competitors. But yeah, it was certainly a hot topic of conversation last season. We know that McLaren as well had to change parts of their car. Harry, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with Sam. This is a good thing, and I'm glad the FIA have decided to not just pretend that everything's still fine, and just be blind to it because new tests were needed. My only criticism would be this maybe could have been implemented soon enough that we didn't have to wait until Spain, but I at least respect them for giving teams at that time because obviously the boat has sailed. But my only criticism would be that the boat had sailed, and I criticise them just because even after the complaints were made last year and tests were done and everyone was saying, "Oh no, it's still fine." Any onboard camera that was on the front nose of a car, watch the front wing going down a straight. I mean, if we can see that they're clearly flexing, and fine, they're all passing the tests as they were set out, and you can't blame F1 teams. This is what they do. They find loopholes in the rules, and God bless them for it. We don't want them to change. But if you can see that's the case, those wings are flexing. So you need to do something. So just a bit quicker on the uptake would have been better for me, in my view. But overall, can't criticize them too much. They do have a moron in charge, so it's hard to do your work.
We're 3 for 3 on this, being relatively positive about this decision. I'm with you in that I'm not quite sure why they made the decision in the first place, so they had to do the U-turn. But contrary to popular belief, I think the 3 of us are understanding individuals. You can make mistakes,
As long as you're not an idiot, we are understanding.
You can make mistakes as long as you admit to them and then make a sensible decision after the fact. Yeah, whatever. That's absolutely fine. And I think they are right to go back on this. So as you kind of alluded to, Sam, the flexible wings are very beneficial for the current crop of cars, just based on the very difficult operating windows that these cars have to deal with at the moment. It's incredibly difficult to find a setup that's going to work on low-speed corners and high-speed corners as well. These flexible wings allow for that operating window to open up a little bit more, so you can start to accommodate for both types of corner. But again, as you've both referenced, the variety in which those wings can be set up has meant that those tests have been insufficient for catching where there have been an infringement of the regulations. We know that it went far enough that McLaren did have to update. It was their rear wing, wasn't it, of the two? But Yeah, I think it's absolutely right for them to adjust those tests so we're actually a little bit better, a little bit more stringent about exactly what is and isn't allowed. I'm okay with it being spread out. I don't mind that the latter changes coming in at the Spanish Grand Prix. Could it have come in a bit sooner? Sure, but oh god, I'm doing a rhetorical question. I'm Mohammed Ben Sulayem.
Oh no!
No.
You have become the man you swore never to be.
You are him. You are
Ben's
the real
merged
Ben.
together eventually.
All Bengs become one.
They told me it would happen.
If I can play devil's advocate just a little bit, I suppose the negative here is the lack of creativity, right? The lack of ability to go down a certain way of developing your car, of experimenting, of trying something new with the regulations, and potentially seeing great performance gains from that. And it maybe stifles that development that we love and want to see in Formula One that allows for that kind of. I read that quote from Adrian Newey, actually. It was in the F1 exhibition that was kind of, my job isn't to follow the rules and regulations. It's to read the rules specifically and find what I could do that surrounds them and essentially doesn't follow them without any specific wording here. And by that change that we're seeing right now, you're maybe stifling a little bit of that creativity where someone could find a loophole, could find an interesting way to get performance out of the car. So just a little bit of devil's advocate, we will probably see less of that creativity in this department. Although with F1 aerodynamicists, maybe we won't.
It's a bit of a give and take situation, isn't it? Because the closer you go to things being standardized, the more likely you're going to have a championship and you're going to have drivers, multiple teams in the mix, because there's just less capability to bend those rules and go beyond them. But of course, as you say, the flip side of that is you are stifling any innovation. So I think you kind of narrow what is possible and therefore are far more likely to have a close championship. But F1, we know that one of the historic reasons for its existence is to, explore the capabilities of motorsport, of motoring generally. And that does curb that a little bit. Yeah, no doubt. Harry, any idea who this might benefit or not benefit?
Really tricky to say, because I think to a degree, a lot of at least the top teams are all doing it. So it's going to be those who can adapt to it the quickest. I.e., how integral are the flexiness of your wings to the performance of your car? And now I'm sure all teams wouldn't do it unless it gave them performance. But is that a really key part of your aerodynamic performance, or is it just an extra bit of performance that is good to have? So it's going to depend on that, to be honest, and who can adapt to it quickest. So that's a real me answer, being on the fence here, but really difficult to know. But I think it's true. I don't know how we would know until it happens.
One of the interesting things, Sam, you've already mentioned Ferrari introducing their update at the Singapore Grand Prix in 2024. Now, the Singapore Grand Prix didn't go very well for Ferrari, but equally, I think that was more self-imposed. They had a horrible qualifying session and couldn't really recover.
Their pace was great.
Their pace was very good. Next two races after that, Austin, Mexico. Won them both.
Did quite well, didn't they?
Yeah. Maybe they might stand to gain a little bit more than McLaren will have.
Well, quite possibly. Again, the margins at the front are so minute that you do need that creativity to be able to find yourself a little loophole that gives you the extra tenth or so. I think a team that could really stand to benefit is a team like Williams. They don't have the infrastructure in terms of their wind tunnels and that top level of tech to test and find those minute details that maybe a McLaren with their new wind tunnel or Ferrari are able to find. So having this more standardized will allow them to essentially mean that they can kind of hit the upper ceiling of performance from this area faster, and they can focus their efforts elsewhere, and maybe that might be somewhere more vulnerable. So I think the guys at the front will have to find a new way to gain those extra tenths. Those like Williams with a less access to tech might actually stand to benefit from this. And again, hopefully bringing the championship closer.
I'll tell you, we are really going to the extremes of what we're capable of on this episode. We've gone our most ranty, our most technical, our most, ambitious for a wish list. Like we're really stretching the corners here.
It's the off season, baby.
What's next, Ben?
Alpine, here we go.
Oh, they are never off an episode, are they?
When was the last time we did talk about Alpine in an episode? Love it.
I keep trying, and then they just say something again. This time, Alpine team principal Oliver Oakes has insisted that 2025 rookie Jack Doohan will get a fair chance to impress, despite the team signing the more experienced Franco Colapinto as a reserve driver. He said, "It's been a little bit harsh on Jack." You hired him. Some of the stuff that was written by the keyboard warriors there, and he's getting his fair crack at it next year. And I think the intention there isn't to put pressure on his shoulders. It's genuinely to give the team options further down the line. And for me, F1 is fine margins. There's a load of people who are depending on a driver to deliver each weekend. And we need to make sure we've got the best drivers in the race car, not just now, but also in the future. Sam, we know that Alpine have no employees apart from reserve drivers at this point. Do you think that this gives Doohan more confidence, less confidence? Should he read anything into these comments?
Reserve drivers and apparently team owners, because I saw another one had a birthday today as we're recording this. I saw someone quote
Michael B.
say,
Jordan.
"That's the one." I saw someone, "This company's just a money laundering activity out for celebrities."
It's like a tax haven.
It's a joke. It's a joke, Alpine. I know you can't sue me. You don't have a legal team, but please don't come for me.
They'd still find a way to lose money from it.
I would.
It is Alpine.
That's true. Should he be worried about this? I don't know. They're just going to stop joshing, doing around a little bit here. He's got a year-long contract. If I was Ollie Oakes and I wasn't starring in a soap, I would be making the point where, look at them both, try not to laugh. I would be making the... I've been making the point where he's got a year contract. I'll be emphasizing that he has a year contract. I would be explicitly saying Jack, within his 1 year deal, has targets that he needs to hit. He's aware of those targets, and we have every faith that we've employed Jack Doohan and he's able to hit those targets. Stop with the speculation. Stop with the weird alluding to this, alluding to that messages and the uncertainty. Just give the poor kid whose dream it is to be an F1 driver, who's finally got to this point in his career, a chance to do the job. I know Colapinto is there, risen up all of France at this point. I'm sure he's got them under his finger.
He hates the French.
He hates them, but he probably got off the plane and he was like, easy, done. No problemo.
Save the planet. Okay, we love you.
We love you.
Macron restart.
The Eiffel Tower.
Oh, sorry, I mentioned Macron. He'll probably resign next week now.
I'm going to work for Alpine. My point here is he's here. Give Jack Doohan the time he needs, okay? Just stop airing your dirty laundry. Just stop talking about things. You can just give a simple answer. It does not need to be this inflated, bizarre response. It's okay to just go, we trust him, we've hired him, see what he can do. And shut up, move on. I think it can be that simple.
Shut it, please.
Shut it, please. Ollie Oakes, your mouth is moving like a rat.
Harry, your thoughts on Shanice's quote?
That's too niche. It's too niche.
Right. So, A, in that quote, he said about hiring the best drivers in F1, well, best drivers that they can in F1.
Do you know how you avoid hiring someone?
Don't fire the better one. Don't fire the better one in the first place, Ollie. And
in fairness, he wasn't there when that wasn't on him.
I know it wasn't off. To be fair, yeah. All right, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. But yeah, obviously he's come. It's almost like he's spoken to make things better. It just feels like he's making it worse. As you say, Sam, just stop talking. You don't need to say anything now. And the thing that's the pressure has come from the fact that they put him in the car for the last race of the season because people saw it wasn't brilliant, and obviously now the Colapinto thing as well. And yes, it is people out there just making up rumors and speculation, but you've fueled this by putting him in the car in the last race of the season where he was never going to be great, and that's not on Jack Doohan at all, and then letting Flavio Briatore hire Colapinto, and this is all added up to this situation. I'm not saying that this is what they're going to do, but there's no wonder people are speculating about it because you've made this once again. Alpine versus themselves is the greatest duel we're going to see this year. Themselves got hands, as Sam once said. So they've boxed themselves into a corner just, with the with the story on this one. They didn't need to. They could have just let Ocon finish the season, let Doohan have a proper start to his career. Yes, the Colapinto thing may still have come about, but at least then there wouldn't have been the last race of the season performance for hanging over Doohan when they've hired Colapinto. It would have just been seen as a good reserve driver move, to be honest, and now it's seen as he's going to replace him halfway through the year. So I've got no sympathy. Ollie Oakes, you've painted yourself into this corner.
Yeah, I understand why he's being vague here, even if I don't love why he's being vague. And it's just that he doesn't want to say something that comes back to bite him later in the year. Like, he's saying he'll give Doohan a fair chance, but fair chance is very vague. Like, is a fair chance 6 races? Is it half a season? Is it a full season? There's a reason he's not committing to a timeline. And that's because he doesn't want to get stuck in the same situation as, say, maybe Logan Sargent and Williams, where he did a full season and another half season before he was replaced. And I think if Doohan is struggling halfway through 2025, they will want to get Colapinto in that car. Because if they want Colapinto in there for 2026, they're probably going to want to give him a bit of a warm up at the end of 2025 to get adjusted to the team and the car. So I feel really sorry for Jack Doohan in all of this, because as you kind of say, Harry, guy's done one race and he's already having to justify why he's in this sport. He had a good junior career. He's done one race that should mean nothing. He should be going into this season with the confidence of the team behind him, but none of these statements really give that confidence because they're all too vague. We don't know whether he'll do the full year. If someone would just turn around and say he will, then I'm sure he'd feel a lot more assured. But yeah, even if the reason is a good one, as you say, Harry, they don't help themselves with it. Shall we take our final break on this episode? On the other side, it's back and forth.
This has been a real ride.
I'm exhausted.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for Back and Forth.
F1. Back and forth, it's F1. Back and forth, it goes backwards. Then goes forth, it's F1. Back and forth, F1.
Beautiful. Fun fact about this game of Back and Forth, actually.
Go on, Ben, tell me.
I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Back and forth. Harry versus Sam. They're going to go back and forth on a category with a certain number of correct answers. Today, there are 16 correct answers.
16.
Thank you, Will Mackenzie. You'll keep going back and forth until someone can't think of a correct answer or gives an incorrect answer. And I'll give you 2 strikes, I think. 2 strikes each.
That famous game of 2 strikes and you're out.
Yeah. It's like the sprint race of baseball. I want you to name today the 16 drivers that have raced at least 50 times for Williams.
Oh.
And we'll start with Harry.
I've got a single Williams driver in my career.
Who's driven for Williams? George Russell.
George Russell is...
Well, Ben, he must be correct.
Yeah, come on, sure.
Yeah, so he is on it. I couldn't find him. 59 races. So not by a lot, but he is a correct answer. Sam.
Alex Albon.
Alex Albon is a correct answer. He's done 66 races for the team, which means midway through the 2026 season, provided he's still there, he will become the most experienced Williams driver of all time.
Wow. Williams can't retain Jack.
That's wild.
It's not even midway through. It's like 6 races into the 2026 season, and he will become the most experienced Williams driver of all time.
Blimey, governor.
I mean, there isn't a driver. No driver has done 100 races for Williams.
That sucks.
Which is odd, but true. Harry, over to you.
Felipe Massa.
Felipe Massa, he's fourth on the list, 78 race starts. Sam.
Bottas.
Of course, teammates together for a fair while. Ironically, Bottas, 77 race starts for Williams. Of course, that's his race number.
Love that. That satisfies my OCD.
Fun story about F1 exhibition. Loads of merch, loads of good stuff. And right at the end, there's a basket, and it's full of dog chew toys, and they're all shaped like a black and mint green F1 car with the number 77 on them. And that is the only mention of Valtteri Bottas for the entirety of the F1 exhibition.
Doesn't exist. I think that's a savage legacy to have. You're a dog chew toy.
You are the chew toy of F1.
You managed to go buy some steak merch and you didn't buy it. That's impressive.
Well,
highly sought after.
I'm not Bortoletto.
Hey, it's his dream. Harry, back to you.
Ralf Schumacher.
Ralf Schumacher is second on this list. 94 race starts for the team.
God, get a life, Ralph.
Sam.
Mansell.
Mansell is number one on this list. No one has done more races for Williams than Nigel Mansell with 95. Harry, back to you.
Damon Hill.
Damon Hill is on this list. 65 race starts. Sam.
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve is one short.
Oh, that little poo head rattling me and Harry for life.
Sorry, mate. That's a tough one there.
That's tough. He only did 3 seasons in Williams, which is...
It's a real kick in the gonads.
3 seasons? 6, 7, 8?
That would work out, wouldn't it? Yeah.
99
around 50.
VAR.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I actually said 16 drivers. There's actually 14. I don't know why I said 16 at the beginning of this. So
Ben's a liar.
This podcast is an absolute shambles today.
This is a mess.
You've got 2 fewer answers to look
Yeah,
for.
true.
So I don't know why you're complaining.
No, we're not. Okay,
Harry, back to you.
Riccardo Patrese.
Riccardo Patrese is a correct answer. Third on the list with 81, which means you've got all of the top 5 on this list now.
So sweet.
Sam, back to you. We've got 6 answers still to find.
Latifi.
Nicholas Latifi is a correct answer. 61 race starts.
Gosh. My guy was flying high.
Arguable.
They call it Icarus.
I
don't remember in all of his 61 race starts. I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh God. Was Montoya on there? Is he another one?
He is.
Oh God.
68 race starts for Juan Pablo Montoya.
Mr. Chunky, sorry.
8 starts, Sam. Back to you.
Man who sits under a tree?
No.
Oh, I'm sick of this game.
I think he only did 1 year, didn't he?
Is that it? 1 year?
He's not on my near misses list.
That's a bit Heifeld for everyone that doesn't understand the reference.
True, yeah. Which means we're back to Harry.
This is tough.
Only 4 names left, so.
Keke Rosberg.
Keke Rosberg is a correct answer. 62 race starts. Sam, over to you.
If I get this wrong, I'm out, right? That's it. It's game over.
Correct.
What if I just never gave an answer? What if this podcast went on forever?
I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, let's
I'd give wrong answers so this could end. If Sam refused.
Jean-Pierre Jabouille.
As far as I'm aware, Jean-Pierre Jabouille never raced for Williams.
He bloody did, by the way.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
Fair enough. But he definitely didn't race 50 times for
I'm going to look it up. I'm going to say how many he did.
Which means Only 3 answers left on the board. Harry, could you name any of them?
Nico Rosberg.
Yeah, you'd almost did it the last time. So Nico Rosberg,
one.
70 race starts.
Alan Jones.
Jones is the right answer. 60 race starts.
The racist Brazilian.
No.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Only 31, weirdly.
What era have we got left?
2010s.
Oh. 2010s.
A race winner.
Oh, Maldonado.
Pastor Maldonado with 58. The other one that was the nearest miss would have been Lance Stroll. He had 41.
Gosh.
Do you know the really funny thing about Jean-Pierre Jabouille?
No, what is the really funny thing about it?
Other than the fact that I can't say his name, is that he only made 49 starts across the full Formula One, so he wasn't going to be on that list regardless.
You know what? It's hard to do 50 race starts when you've only done 49.
Oh, God. Yeah, Jean-Pierre Jabouille made 49 starts across an F1 career that began with Williams in 74 and ended with Ligier in 81.
Yeah.
With spells at Surtees, Tyrrell, and the aforementioned Renault.
Well, you've taught me that he raced for Williams because I didn't know that. So thank you very much.
So we've all won, really.
So when you think about it, we're all winners.
The people who are ending this podcast are the real winners.
Apart from the listeners of this episode, they are the real losers.
Podcast is the real winner.
I'm glad we've got something to talk about next week. We've got a Q&A episode on Sunday. We've got Pimp My F1 next Wednesday. And then the Sunday after, it be Teammate Wars.
Ooh, it's heating up.
If you haven't been with us for a pre-season before, by the way, Teammate Wars is where all of us select which of the 2 teammates will score the most points. And there's a grand prize of nothing at the end of the year for the winner.
Pride.
It's
Right.
where Sam and Ben battle it out to see who will win Teammate Wars this year, and I am also there.
Oh, Harry, we thank him for coming.
I'm in attendance.
Terrible joke, mate. I wouldn't make it.
Shut it, Ben.
We will also do a poll in Discord, by the way, to get your consensus of which of the 2 teammates is going to end up with the most points. Sam, if you wouldn't mind, for the love of everything that is good in this world, get us out of here.
If you want more of this, then you can listen to it on Patreon, where you can actually pay for it. It's not free, but you do get everything ad free. You get more episodes, you get Beer with Breaking, and you get a classic historic race every single month. You'll also get power rankings when the season starts after every single race. So check it out. It massively supports the show more than literally anything else. So if you love it, that's the best way to do so. Join the Discord, the link's in the description. You can get involved in those polls that Ben's mentioned. And when it comes to racing time, you can get your submissions in. So you might hear yourself played upon the podcast, which is always lovely. Follow us on social media, Late Breaking F1. Watch us on YouTube, Late Breaking F1. And we will see you for the Q&A episode on Sunday. In the meantime, I've been Samuel Sage.
And I've been Ben. Oh, wait, you're here. God. I was doing the Patreon outro. Sorry, mate. I have been Bourbon Hocking.
And I've been Duncan James.
And remember, keep breaking later.
I'm blue.